Self-high five.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monday Night Pod. My name is Jeremy Jacobowitz. I'm here with my tag team partner, Adam Welby.
Heyo.
And this is the podcast all about the Monday Night Wars, all about the battles between WWF Raw and WCW Nitro. Each and every single week, we go back in time and we re-review when the shows went head-to-head in order. Adam, why should people listen to what we have to say, though?
Well, I've said it many times on many episodes that you and I are innovators, right? We're totally taking on the wrestling industry in a way that's never been done before. Because if you want some sort of live wrestling experience, well, you can't listen to the podcast live quite yet. But we've been doing this style discussion right here, face-to-face on a screen for those of us watching, or for those who like to catch up with us on YouTube. I mean, basically, we've been the Thunderdome since this whole quarantine thing started. So, I mean, we're the innovators here on Monday Night Pod, not anyone else who you're hearing about out there. I don't care that they have to have, like, you know, mountains of back-end structures and software and producers behind the scenes. No. It was innovated by us, two guys hanging out, sometimes cracking a beer with kitties on them and talking about some old school wrestling. That's why they should listen to us.
Well, what's funny about that is I actually did attempt to see if we could do these live on YouTube, more so just because it'd be less work for me. It was incredibly difficult to figure out how to stream on YouTube. So maybe one day I'll figure it out and we could do these live. But for now, we're getting taped. But that is a good reason, Adam. But the other reason is that we both used to work at WWE. We worked in a WWE tape library. Our job was to watch all of wrestling. So we've watched a shit ton of it, including the stuff for this week's episode.
It's true. Yeah, as you said, we watched all of wrestling, and we did. We watched all of wrestling from start to when it finished. I guess because it finished in 2011, based on my math there. But regardless, how you doing, Jerry?
Then, now, forever, Adam.
Exactly. You want to talk about anything current before we get into our time machine that we got around here? Anything exciting you this week? We got a Roman Reigns heel turn happening, right?
Big dog is back.
Yeah, right.
I still don't think he's a heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's just the big dog. I told you, remember a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, shit, look how big it is. And you're like, no, he just doesn't have a vest on. No, now you see him, and you're like, oh, shit, he's a monster.
Well, yeah, he's just becoming what we wanted him to be in 2000. It's all great when things happen 6 years too late, but whatever. I don't want to be a pessimist about it. Got to be positive. Cool things going on in the industry. I'm really stoked for All Out. Particularly stoked to get for NWA to be getting some representation on national television lately. That's been pretty cool. Just them showing clips from Power on Dynamite, because we've talked about it before. Power is great. I miss Power.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's been a while since they put out an episode.
I really do hope that Power is able to come back in the future, but we shall see.
Hopefully, and shout out to Renee Young, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Do you know that Renee Young, one of the first things she did in the WWE, I believe, was that she hosted a little show with Mean Gene Okerlund on the now defunct WWE 24/7. Do you remember what she hosted with him?
Was it Legends House?
No, she's not. No, goddamn it, she didn't host Legends House. She hosted a show where they went back in time and watched both Raw and Nitro. And then the two of them would discuss it between Raw and Nitro. So if it wasn't, I mean, I would say we would have done the stuff without that. But there is this little precursor to our little adventure, and it was Renee and Mean Gene. So it was like, I feel like everything that was on 24/7 is a little hidden gem because not too many people watched it. That was one of the cool things. It was like, and it was fun too. Where like at that time, it felt like they were hiring a lot of announcers that like knew nothing about wrestling and didn't care about wrestling. And you could tell by the way Renee reacted to things that she was watching that she was actually a fan, which became obvious to all of us over the years. But it's really cool to see that almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. There was a period where they were like sort of actively trying to find people who weren't interested in wrestling. Like they were going out of their way to do it. Like what's her face from whose favorite match of all time is Melina Alicia Fox.
Okay, well, first of all, she was not an announcer. She was training to become a wrestler, Adam.
Well, I know, but like during
and by the way, what wrestling promotion is she currently wrestling in right now?
Is she? I don't know.
Oh, she was in a women's tag team tournament, Adam.
Oh, was she?
Yes. Ariana Andrews.
Oh, okay. All right. Really?
Yes. They did she was on Dynamite.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. I didn't even realize. Melina Alicia Fox. There you go.
What?
Glad that she's decided to stick around. God.
I guess she's friends with Cody. That's how everyone gets jobs, right?
Well, it certainly doesn't hurt. I'm actually like starting to get a little legitimately concerned that Miro, aka formerly known as Rusev, is never coming back to wrestling, that he's just going to be a Twitch streamer.
Because he's probably crushing Twitch. Ooh, you know what I saw him on? I have we're like so off the rails here. I found someone new on YouTube that I really like. He has millions of followers, so it's not like a goddamn hidden gem. His name is Dr. Bo Hightower, and he's a chiropractor with millions of followers. And he just he readjusts people and he takes like nails and like jams it into them.
Oh, yeah,
so he did 2 videos. He did a video on Miro and did a video on Lana separately, and like worked out both of them. And it was crazy. Miro's like, oh, I can't move. I haven't been able to move my shoulder in like 5 years. He's like, I got you. Chisel, 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 chisel. And he was like, oh shit. Oh. And Miro pretty much was like, I'm in more pain now because all I do is sit in the chair all day and play video games. Yeah. That hurts him more than wrestling did.
There's something to it. I will fully admit, because I used to go to my building's gym every day when I still was not in quarantine. And like having a more sedimentary lifestyle is like really like I started getting a little in my back, and I was like, oh man, I got to start going running and stuff like that. And then my wife was like, yeah, you do. So there is something to sitting around and playing video games all day. Totally unrelated to me getting the platinum trophy in Ghost of Tsushima last week. 34th platinum trophy. Thank you very much. But that's not what we're here to talk about on Monday Night Pod, are we, Jer Bear?
No, we could talk about what happened on December 9th, 1996, because that's what we're going to start with Raw.
Time machine.
Yes, we'll start with Raw as we always do. It's episode 188. We were once again taped from the New Haven Coliseum in New Haven, Connecticut. We opened with a little video package recapping the Taker and Mankind feud because they are the main event tonight, facing a no-holds-barred match. We got a viewer discretion warning for Raw. I believe this is the second time we've had this.
Yeah.
The first time we had it, it was like Sunny half naked telling us about it. But this is like
She was saying something about liking to do it raw also.
Right. Spoiler alert. I don't know what was on this show that needed a viewer discretion.
It was the video package leading up to Karate Fighters Holiday Tournament.
Probably.
Oh, we'll get there. You're right.
All right. Next up, or first up, I guess. WWF Champion Psycho Sid versus our Intercontinental Champion Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Champion versus championship match. This always goes well. Match goes.
Big deal about it.
Match goes 3 minutes. Sid jumps Hunter as he's making his entrance, beats the shit out of him, chokeslam power bomb. Hunter rolls out of the ring and runs away, and Sid doesn't even bother going after him. It just takes the count out win.
Yeah, I was like, oh, is this our first time seeing Sid's pyro like that on the Monday Night?
Oh.
And first or second, I mean, he looks damn good with that damn beautiful belt. But, yeah, this is a stupid match. There's nothing interesting here.
It just, makes Hunter look like a bitch.
They love doing that. That's been, a time-honored WWE tradition about, hey, let us remind you that the champion is so much further ahead than the Intercontinental champion. That always has been that way. It's ridiculous. The only thing that is even more ridiculous is how the champion is infinitely better than tag team champions always.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is which has been it's just one of those. I think you only find that in WWE, but it's crazy that it's always been like this. But yeah, you're right. Hunter looks like a bitch. This didn't really help Sid that much, so I don't know what the
Yeah,
point.
like the announcers tried to get over that Hunter wrestles in a similar style as Brett, I guess. And that's Sid was so it's like, oh my God, Sid just ran through someone that was just going to be like Brett, but I wouldn't really compare their styles to be similar. Maybe size-wise, they're similar-ish. Hunter, I mean, back then, not now. Hunter obviously became like 70 pounds heavier than Brett, but in 1996, Hunter was pretty lean.
Yeah, but man, I like they don't. No, I guess they don't really move the same at all. You know, Killer Kowalski's training style was not anything like a Stu Hart. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite a stretch, but I guess like, hey, they're trying to. They got lemons. They're gonna try and make lemonade.
Sure. Well, next up. We don't even go to commercial break. We just go right into the next match, which is interesting. Goldust with Marlene.
Hey.
Yeah, Goldust with Marlena versus Spark Gun. I feel like we haven't seen Goldust in a while.
Haven't run in a while either.
That's true. This match goes 6 minutes. We see footage before Billy turning on Bart on some dumb weekend show. Beginning of the end for Bart Gunn. Anyway, we see Billy watching from backstage. He cuts a pretty generic promo on Bart saying how much better he is and how much of a loser Bart is. Goldust clips his knee and pins him for the win.
Yeah, he just comes with the chop block from behind. It's like like Ric Flair setting up for a figure four, and he just covers him after that, and it's 3.
There it is. Billy comes out, cuts the exact same promo as he did backstage, but Bart is able to fight him off, and Billy runs away, and they'll be facing each other next week on Raw.
Why do you think Bart fell so fast?
Because he wasn't good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it wasn't great, but yeah, I mean, they're giving him a Scotty Riggs treatment, if you will, for what's going on.
I mean, this is what you do. You break up the tag team and you pick the guy you're going to push. You very rarely push both of them, and that's the old Marty Jannetty thing. Although Jannetty ends up getting lots of pushes, you think back to that always.
Yeah, I was starting to think maybe like there's going to, like, especially as we were going through this, I was starting to think like maybe there will be a better person to phrase as the Jannetty of something. You know, is a better way to say him. But like, my God, has Jannetty freaking lost it?
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Next up, we get a promo backstage from Uncle Zebekiah and Bradshaw. They're just yelling about facing Jesse James tonight. Yelling nonsense.
They're going to brand him again, too.
What's that?
They're going to brand him again.
They're going to brand him again. That's right. Karate Fighters tournament update. We get a look back at the tournament. Obviously not showing Mr. Perfect since he's no longer in the company. The finals are going to be on Monday. It's going to be King versus Sable.
No, can't we all look forward to that?
Great. Sure, King will say something inappropriate.
Karate Fighters holiday tournament. My gosh, still going on.
I wish it was still going on to this day. That could be like a good network exclusive.
I feel like we could organize a Karate Fighters holiday tournament, and like, oh, actually, well, I mean, I know Xavier Woods is listening. Up, up, down, down. Karate Fighters.
I would say it would be another wrestling former tag team now to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Another AEW superstar, Adam, who is obsessed with toys.
And an Impact Wrestling star.
Yeah. So I guess that would have been a good network show if they didn't fire them.
Well, have to cut costs during the pandemic, even though profits are up.
Profits are up because there's no expenses anymore. They're not traveling anybody.
Because they got that arena that they're in for like $450,000 or something like that for multiple shows.
I think that's why payback happens. I think they're like, all right, well, we're paying for this arena whether we're filming there or not because we're not tearing down the set. It doesn't cost that much more to just have everyone show up to work on Sunday. Throw up another pay-per-view and see how it does. I was gonna give a spoiler, but like we're filming before payback, so I'm gonna look stupid if we get
As we talked about last week, giving a little peek behind the curtain, filming this on a Sunday so that you can have it first thing on Monday.
All I want is the big dog to have the championship. I don't care about anything else tonight.
It'll probably happen.
We'll see. Next up, it is that match. It's Justin Hawk Bradshaw and Uncle Zebekiah versus Double J. Handicap match. This match goes 6 minutes. Nothing happens. Zebekiah accidentally nails Bradshaw with the brandishing iron, and JJ pins him for the win. After the match, Bradshaw is pissed, beats the shit out of Zebekiah, and brands him with the iron.
Well, yeah, so I guess we can think that relationship is done. Over and done. I was wondering, because obviously, Jesse James still sings "With My Baby Tonight" on the way to the ring. I was wondering, like, how much it would piss, Road Dogg off for some fan to ask him, like, if he's on Cameo or something like that, we got to get him to sing "With My Baby Tonight." Like,
I mean, I'm sure that's what every request is. He must know that if he's on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if he is, but.
Or maybe, I guess I would probably have him do like a DX thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, DX is so much bigger than the New Age Outlaws and everything. I mean, I think, getting off topic a small bit, but I think as I've rallied many times on this show against the idea of Sean Waltman going in with the NWO for the Hall of Fame, I think a big part of that might be because I associate X-Pac so much more with DX, and he is such a DX person, and like DX in my head is so counter programming to WCW that like to be on both doesn't really make sense.
Fair, I agree. More reason. Well, I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to fight about it again. We've talked about it too much. It's all out of my system. Next up, Jim Ross interviews Bret Hart in the ring. Bret's rocking a pretty sweet Canadian tuxedo, including a Bret Hart WWF cheap jacket. He says that it won't be a wrestling match with Sid. He just wants a championship. So obviously, like a little more fire from Bret than usual. I literally said lots of fire from his pretty short promo, but that's pretty much the crux of it. Is hey, I'm coming for the championship. Sid, get ready because you don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah, I think he had a line that I liked actually, and I was like, "Wow, that's pretty snappy for Bret." He said, "When you snap, they call you psycho. When I snap, they'll call me champion."
Yeah, I thought I was like literally writing that down as he was saying it, and then he finished it. I was like, meh. I wanted him to be like, "When I snap, your back is broken from the sharpshooter or something." You know what I mean? It's like it's like, never mind. Delete. I don't care about that.
I mean, look, if Stone Cold was the one who said it, like I'm sure it would have been a lot more memorable or like just kind of felt natural. But like when you had normally stoic, kind of boring promo Bret Hart say it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's notable.
He's tiptoeing his way to the 1997 Bret Hart. Next up, it's our main event. No holds barred. Mankind, Paul Bearer versus Undertaker. This match goes 10 minutes and 30 seconds. We see a quick Mankind promo that was taped literally in the desert in Dubai because they're touring right now. So they got the home video and threw him in the sands, and it's just like rocking back and forth saying he wants to go home. Which, you know what? I probably would have been doing the same. It's 120 degrees in Dubai. I'd be like, I want to go home.
Hey, you know what? If you're to believe what you read on Twitter, there was, similar feelings just a couple months ago when they're trying to get out of Saudi Arabia. That's true. That's totally unreasonable.
Early chokeslam early. Taker goes to the tombstone, but the Executioner comes in to save Mankind. We go to commercial break, and Executioner is now gone. Taker starts smashing Mankind, like working on Mankind's hand, so he can't deliver the mandible claw, including like putting between the steel steps and just fucking going after it, which is pretty brutal. I mean, Mick takes brutal bumps throughout this entire match, diving from the ring apron. Taker slamming his head on the barrier, just destroying himself.
Yeah, he's doing those kind of bumps too that like you watch him and you're like, that IRL hurts, but it doesn't like make a big. It's not big for like the arena to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like I mean, all his bumps are like that though. It's like all these things that like, yeah, don't look gigantic, but like hurt more than anything.
Well, yeah, some of the nastiest bumps some of the nastiest injuries that I can think of off the top of my head that I've seen like while watching wrestling are all from like really tiny things happening that like weren't supposed to happen in the moment. Like, I don't know, like when RVD almost lost his eye because the table broke upwards when he and Sabu jumped through it at the same time and it went like that or whatever. Or even just like how Sammy Guevara cracked his head open on a table in a very similar way just this last Wednesday on Dynamite. Like it's when those like little things happen, that's like when real gross injuries happen.
Anyway, Mankind goes to steel chair, gets punched and booted in the face with it. Mankind comes back to a lock in a mandible claw. Taker, basically using Taker powers, is able to fight out of it. Hits a tombstone, and Executioner comes, boom. Executioner runs in, spikes Taker as the show goes off the air. So Taker wins, Executioner comes out, and that's going to be the match for pay-per-view, so there you go.
The Armageddon match, which I think we can tell from how they were describing it. I think it sounds like it's a last man standing, basically.
I believe so.
Right. JR also had a funny line on commentary during this match where he said that Mankind would rather fight a man than make love to a woman.
I think Mick would disagree.
No, please. Yeah. But I thought that line was funny.
But that's Raw.
That is Raw. How are you feeling about it, Jer Bear?
Sucked.
Yeah. You know what's funny is when I pull the show up on the network and I start typing out my notes, I look at the bottom and I see like what are all the beats that we have on this episode? Like what do they say is going to be in here? And so I start writing down. All right, cool. Psycho Sid versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Goldust versus Bart Gunn, Bradshaw versus Jesse James. You know, like I'm putting down the whole thing, and Mankind versus Undertaker. I'm like, wow, this is actually on paper a pretty decent episode right here. This could be kind of good. And then just like nothing really clicked. Nothing really.
The Taker Mankind match was fine, but this is a long feud that, you know, they brawled and it's sort of fun, but it can't make up for the rest of the show that was just dog shit.
Right. Also, like the Undertaker is going to face the Executioner at the pay-per-view, but like Mankind is the main guy in the Undertaker in the Mankind Executioner Paul Bearer connection, right? So that'd be, I mean, it's like fighting the main villain before you can go fight his sidekick then, in a way.
Yeah, it's sort of like they ran through all the Mankind matches already and they're like, oh, well, I guess let's just find something else to do. I mean, let's play the game. This is a go-home show for a pay-per-view. How many matches can you name that are actually on this pay-per-view, Adam? And I will wait. Let me pull it up. We can play this game. It's all in your house, my time.
I am not going to. Wait, what? Is that what it's
in
called?
Your house. I believe it's. No. It's in your house. Something. It's Vader's. It's Vader's fucking thing. In your house, December 26th.
See,
in your house, it's time. Sorry, it's time. So it's time because this was supposed to be Shawn losing to Vader again before the Royal Rumble, so they named it. They named it It's Time months in advance, and then Vader's poof gone because they changed all the plans anyways, not even on the fucking show. But okay, I have the matches in front of me. Right, would you like to run down how many matches you know?
Yes, I am not cheating on this one at all. I am going to say that we have, off the top of my head, we have Sid versus Brett for the title. We have Taker versus the Executioner in a Armageddon match. We have. I want to guess that Hunter Hearst Helmsley is going to face Mark Miro for the IC title.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was a guess.
But they did not mention that this week, did they?
No, nothing about that on this show. That was 1,000% me pulling it out of my hat.
Okay.
I think Stone Cold is Stone Cold wrestling anybody? Stone Cold versus British Bulldog?
No, there are 3 dark matches that sounds incredible, and I'll give them to you once we get through the rest of the card.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can
But
make
spoiler, Stone Cold is not on the main card.
Wow. Let me make one more guess.
Yeah, there's one more. There's one more that I know they talked about last week at least.
To our major point though, about Stone Cold 316 says I just whipped your ass, and then the next day was Stone Cold Mania. Like, yeah, he's not even on this card, or he's not even in. Let's see, British Bulldog and Owen Hart defending the tag team championships against. Fuck. I just would guess like the Godwins or something.
No. So fake Diesel and fake Razor, which they mentioned last week.
That's right.
So here's the card. On the free for all, it was Rocky Maivia defeating Sal Sincere. Okay, free for all. You don't have to do that. Flash Funk defeated Leif Cassidy in 10 minutes. Jeez. Owen Hart and Bulldog.
Those are guys who can work their asses off, by the way. So who knows? That could. Come on.
This is a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Owen Hart and Bulldog versus Diesel Razor. Mark Miro versus Hunter. Taker versus Executioner. Psycho Sid versus Bret Hart. So the pay-per-view goes off the air at that point. So remember, the in-your-house pay-per-views at this point were really short pay-per-views. So for the house, they actually always had like a much longer card. So the dark matches were Brockus defeated Dr. X. Okay. But then Stone Cold faced Goldust. And Shawn Michaels faced Mankind.
Wow. Wow, that's because I guess HBK is just being built up for the San Antonio Royal Rumble at this point. So
yeah,
who really cares? That's pretty. All right, there you go. I'm glad that they did such a great job selling this pay-per-view that we didn't even know what its fucking name was off the top of our heads.
I think they purposely didn't mention it that many times because, like, well, it's obvious that it's about Vader, and Vader's nowhere to be seen. So let's not mention the name of the pay-per-view.
And just to reiterate here, it's Vader's nowhere to be seen, not because he's injured or anything like that, just because Shawn refused to job to him.
He might have been injured too, but yeah, I forget exactly. But yes, generally, yes, the idea was he'd be main eventing with Shawn. This is part of their, I think it was SummerSlam, this and the Royal Rumble, maybe the trio of matches where Vader wins the first 2, or there's some shenanigans or something, and then Shawn gets the belt back at Royal Rumble. That was always the plan.
Well, poorly on White. Oh well. Oh well.
Shall we go to Nitro?
Let's head south.
So,
to Nitro.
Yeah, let's go south. This is episode 65 of Nitro. They are live from the Independence Arena in Charlotte, North Carolina. Ric Flair country. Oh, yes. Woo! We are live. And first things first, Rowdy Roddy Piper is here. The audience goes nuts. Mm-hmm. Completely on our feet. I mean, the announcers oversell it completely. They're like, I can't even hear you. It's like, no, you guys could hear each other, but whatever. But legit, they're all excited.
Yeah.
So Piper gets out there, live mic. God knows what's about to happen. Talks about living in North Carolina. He screams about having kids. He says he has 6 kids. I actually don't think he has 6 kids.
I thought he had like 5.
I think he has 5. I really don't know why he said he had 6 kids. I got kids. Talks about his kids suggesting maybe not fighting Hulk Hogan. He goes off on some ridiculous rant about the WWF asking him to take a dive for Mr. T at WrestleMania. He says he didn't take a dive then. He's not taking a dive now. Anytime, anywhere. It's just exposing the business. He says that he has nothing against NWO. He isn't with them or WCW. He makes a gay joke about NWO. He said he's sick. He said he's sick and tired of Hulk Hogan. He is still talking. Finally, they just play his music to get him to stop. And he just finishes the promo.
4 kids, by the way, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
4. Oh.
4. He's got 3 daughters and 1 son. His son is an MMA fighter, it looks like.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't really know why he said he has 6 kids. I don't know why he would discuss taking falls, people telling him to lose. It's Piper promo. It's enjoyable. It makes sense a little bit, but you could tell they were just like, here's the bullet points. Like, I got it. And then he's just talking. He's making gay jokes. They're like, oh my God, play his music, get him out of there.
Well, you see, he says, what's he say? That, you always see the NWO sitting in hotels with Don Perignon.
Wearing leather and sitting alone in
Yeah,
hotel.
wearing leather. You never see a lady around.
Well, to be fair, in this segment he's discussing, I believe Liz was there. So he's even wrong about that.
Liz occasionally dips in. Yeah, you're right. So. Well, either way, it's a good way to get the crowd all piped up.
It was a good way to start the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, he's calling out Hogan. He's saying, let's do this shit tonight. Like, as we know as jaded wrestling fans now, anytime that someone says, like, hey, let's do the pay-per-view main event tonight, it is a good way to pop the main crowd, the live crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That shit ain't happening. But we'll see. Anything can happen on Nitro, right?
That's true, including this next matchup. It's Mike Enos versus BK Wall Street. Match goes 1 minute and 30 seconds. Ted DiBiase walks out with some papers in his hands. Ooh, who's that contract for? Who's that contract for? He shows it to Mike Enos. But that allows BK Wall Street to hit the stock market crash for the win. Ted hands the contract to Wall Street. Is he the next member of the NWO? We will find out.
Yep. As I said, anything can happen on Nitro, and this match could certainly be described as anything.
Yes. Next up, we see footage from WCW Saturday Night. It's a home video shot by Roman and Benoit. They are out on some porch drinking a wine, having a lovely romantic night. They're talking directly to Sullivan, saying that she's been lying about where she's been. She says that she has rights. This is in the 1950s. She told Sullivan to stop being up Benoit a few weeks ago, and she can do whatever she wants. Benoit talks about being a better chess player than Sullivan and checkmates. They share some wine. We cut back to Sullivan's reaction from Saturday Night. They were showing him this video. So,
yeah, this is, I mean, as we've discussed in the past, it's going to be, we're going to go through a lot of Benoit's and Nancy's and all that stuff. It's so weird. Like, like just knowing what happened with all that. Like, I was thinking about this, and there's a lot of dark stories in entertainment and sports and sports entertainment. There's nothing quite like Nancy and Chris Benoit. Like it's I can't think of another like pair of like an acting team or like a comedy duo or like anything. It's not to dwell on it too much, but like when you watch it, there is a quick element in the back of my head every time of like, man, life is fucking weird. Life is weird and dark sometimes.
It's not easy to watch.
Yeah, but they seem to be having a good time at the time. So
that's true.
Good for that.
Next up, it's Hugh Morris versus Renegade with Joe Gomez. This match goes 3 minutes. No Laughing Matter ends it. The crowd popped for No Laughing Matter, but otherwise this is a nothing match.
Yeah, I mean, you get to see a freaking 340-pound man do a moonsault halfway across the ring,
Absolutely.
Bill DeMott was a one-trick pony, but that one trick was pretty good.
Yes. Sullivan runs out afterwards to talk to Tony Larry. He is pissed about the Benoit woman video. He says that this is a ratings game. He doesn't know why they're doing this. He says the video wasn't for WCW. It was sent for him, so he doesn't know why they played it. He's blaming Tony for this whole thing. He just screams at Tony for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to make it real. He doesn't feel like Taskmaster in this moment at all. He's very Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah. Which is interesting, him trying to take it real, because remember, it was only a few months ago, 6 months ago, not even, when he was feeding Pillman, and Pillman calls him Booker Man. So, like, if we're like taking out of this like universe of what's happening in the breaking the fourth wall, we know that Sullivan is the Booker, and then to break the fourth wall again to admit that this isn't a storyline when we know it's a storyline. It like hurts your brain to think about it.
A little bit, but it's fascinating television. I'll give you that.
It's for the ratings. He's right. Next up, again,
that is best when it's a little bit real. Like, that is very true. There are very few times that I can think back in wrestling and think like that was real when it happened, because it was a little real. Not that it was totally real, but it was a little real. The biggest of those in my head that have happened in contemporary times being Money in the Bank 2011 and WrestleMania 30, in my opinion. Those two, like the whole Daniel Bryan.
I would even say those. I think the two that come to mind for me is Miz and Daniel Bryan, and the Edge, Lita, Matt Hardy love triangle.
That's another one I forgot. Yeah, that's a good point. Like those are, the thing with Miz and Daniel Bryan is that was just like a legendary. That was a legendary promo backstage moment kind of thing. I mean, dude, that one moment alone justified the existence of Talking Smack for the rest of its time. And now that it's back, it's justifying it still, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
and they had a moment last week.
Mm-hmm. You think Miz will ever be champion again?
Should be.
Yeah, he should have had it. Yeah, he should have been champion again by this point.
Mm-hmm.
Way better than he was back when he was champion.
Yes, I agree.
That was a discussion that we would actually have often when we were back working at the WWE tape library. That was kind of in the heat of Miz's first main event rise. And a lot of people, I recall, would talk about how, like, what a shit worker he was. And he really kind of was a shit worker back then. You don't really see his ring stuff start becoming really sharp and really good until I think around when he was doing the movie star with Miz Dow's stunt double kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He had to work entire tag matches by himself to get the heat.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's when he became an incredible worker, and Miz is like a world-class worker nowadays. So yeah, just a little tangent there. I do hope to see him get the belt again one day.
I agree. Next up, we get a 90s video package of Sting. Whatever you have in your head, that's what it was. Mean Gene is then on the entranceway and brings out the Carolina Panthers own Kevin Green. Oh my God, he's back. Mean Gene asks if where him and Mongarati says that they're foes. And once the off-season begins, he's coming after him again for turning his back on Kevin Green.
As he should. Fuck Mongo for going back on Kevin Green when they were it's like in the midst of being brilliant cokeheads as their gimmick. Still up there. When Mongo, Green, and Macho all started clicking, that is legitimately in my top 5 favorite moments of the Monday Night Wars that we've gone through so far. It's
great.
Like if I like off the top of my head, that one it might even be in the top 3. There's like that and Giant going after Hogan with a monster truck are like very distinctly 2 moments in the top of my head since we started this pod that I'm like, those are the best.
Next up, WCW Cruiserweight Championship match. G-Man Graffiti versus our WCW Cruiserweight Champion Dean Malenko. This match goes 7 minutes. Tony and Larry say it's a Cruiserweight Championship match. The referees and the ring announcers make no mention of it or don't act like it is, but it's one of those WCW things. Whatever. You think they would get that right. Anyway, Sonny Ono is back out there taking photos because Ultimo is going to face off Dean Malenko pay-per-view, I believe. Graffiti's getting like a lot of offense in. Graffiti goes to a suplex, but Dean is able to reverse it midair right into a small package and pins it for the win. That was a pretty fun match.
Yeah, it actually was. Like Graffiti's he's like not in great shape at all. Like he kind of looks like he's almost like a thinner Public Enemy member, but the guy can move. The guy can work. Yeah, this was actually a pretty fun match, like you said. Probably the best match that we've had between either shows so far tonight.
100%. I mean, not that much to discuss in it, but it's a fun match. Just lots of back and forth, and it went 7 minutes. It was a pretty competitive match between them, and that's what you want to see in the Cruiserweight division.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Anyway, next up, Mean Gene interviews Sonny Ono on the entrance ramp. Sonny forgets to have a Japanese accent, and Gene is like, what? Sonny says that, oh, yeah, he has the accent because, like, it gets some free stuff in America. Make it something.
Yeah, what a great country. You can get free stuff just by not working.
Sure. Oh, America in 1996. Anyway, he talks about Ultimo destroying Dean Malenko at the pay-per-view.
Wow. We'll see. I'm stoked for that match, man. A lot of all the marbles up for that one. As they've said, they're like unifying like 9 titles.
Yes. Next up, Faces of Fear, Jimmy Hart versus the Nasty Boys. This match goes 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Oh boy, big brawl to start. Not shocking there. Unfortunately, we then go to the Nasty Boys split screen, meaning we can't see anything as they all brawl and fight with each other. Big splash by Knobs, but the ref is distracted. Hart jumps on the top rope and accidentally nails Barbarian with the megaphone as he's trying to hit Knobs. Knobs throws Jimmy out of the ring, and Barbarian is able to use that to do something to him. The camera misses it. We cut back to see Barbarian pinning him for the win. So some move finished the match. We don't know because they don't even mention it or bring it up again. They just move on.
Joel, Jimmy Hart's move ended up like getting the win for him, even though it almost didn't. Well,
all the chaos did, but Barbarian clearly did something to Knobs, punched him, kicked him, whatever. We have no idea.
Well, I wrote of this match that it's exactly what you think it is if you were to read on paper Nasty Boys versus the Faces of Fear.
Yes.
It's just a big slobber knocker right there.
They're not. Ref has no control. They're beating the shit out of each other, but a fun 5 minutes. I enjoy this.
Nobody's going to the ground with an arm drag.
Nope. Next up, Mean Gene is on the entranceway and brings out hometown boy Ric Flair. Woo. No more sling, so it looks like he's, getting there, improving week by week. He says he wants Piper to come back out, so Piper comes out. Flair is just yelling. I don't really understand a lot of what he's saying, but he's like telling stories about the past between him and Piper. Talks about dropping the ball by not beating Hogan a few years ago, and all led to this. He's pissed himself for walking away at that point. Piper says that this is his last shot, and he doesn't want anybody's help. That he's on his own for this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very noble, very, very lone man, gunslinger kind of. Yeah, he's not there. He's not part of WCW. He's there to right wrongs himself. He wants to get that win over Hogan.
Hour 2 begins. Tony, Bobby, and Larry recap what happened in Hour 1. Next up, though, it's Chris Jericho versus Bobby Eaton. This match goes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Jericho back with his original WCW theme, not the Balls of Jericho anymore, which is nice to see. We get a pre-recorded message from Jericho in the back during the match. Just cuts like the most generic babyface promo ever on Nick Patrick. Ian is bringing it, good, real, even 2 minutes. They're having a good competitive match, but he misses the Alabama Jam. That leads to a sidekick and missed drop kick by Jericho, and he pins him for the win.
Yeah, like you said, 2 minute match. They're trying to get enough back and forth in, but it's a 2 minute match we can really talk about here. Crowd's still hot for babyface Jericho, though, so that's good.
Yeah, doing cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we get a recap of the Steiner Brothers issues of Sting. They run through that forever. We come back to Mean Gene, who quickly interviews Rick and Scott on the entranceway, and they yell about Sting.
Hey, man, I always love me a good Rick Steiner screaming. Sting! It's good.
Yeah, it's another thing where Scotty's about to do his thing, and they just play the music because they were like, all right, well, Rick talked too much. Just play the music to get out of this fucking interview. And it's a good thing because...
Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just saying it's a good thing because we absolutely needed to get in the Lex Luger 90s video package as well tonight, which comes up next.
Yeah, this. I was thinking something that I learned working in live TV, and when I was watching this, is a thing that we would always talk about on the various live television shows that I've worked on. Is it doesn't matter if it looks cool. What is the story, right? What is the story that we're telling in this 2 minutes, in this 4 minutes of live television time that we have? And that's the thing, is the same with the Sting video package earlier and this Luger video package. It's well, what's the story we're telling? And they were not telling a story. They were just playing their theme songs with some... It's
just like their Titantron.
Yeah. 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 If WCW had Titantrons, this is what it would be.
Yeah. I guess I get it. It's they're not on TV. So basically, a lot of the WCW roster was in Germany right now wrestling, which is why you don't see these guys on TV. No Sting or Lex Luger actually on the show.
Right, makes sense. One other thought at this point, as I was thinking about you actually, Mean Gene's getting in a lot of time tonight, huh? This is like an old school episode of Nitro.
Yeah, that was my note for the last one because it was just oh my God, it's too many times.
Well, we'll talk about it more than after at the end. But yeah, Steiner calling out Sting again.
Next up, though, Sergeant Craig Pittman versus Arn Anderson with Deborah and Mongo in his corner. Match goes 3 minutes. No more Teddy Long for Pittman. they sort of address it, but just quickly move on. We get
tons of pyro for Pittman at this point.
Yeah. Well,
They're making it look like he's going to be a guy.
Pyro or manager, what do you want? We get a pre-recorded message from Kevin Sullivan. He's facing Arn next week. He says there's nothing left for him, nothing left for me but you. So he's unhinged at this point. He's going to take out his rage on Arn Anderson. Pittman actually looks like he's taking the advantage. He has the advantage of the match. He ends up on the outside and gets in Deborah's face. And all the distraction leads to Mongo being able to nail him in the gut with the Halliburton. Rolls back into the ring, and Arn Anderson hits the DDT and pins Craig Pittman for the win.
We should also mention that Deborah has now gone full. Like, she was talking about her beauty queen past in the previous episode, but she has now gone like fully committed to the gimmick because she is wearing a Miss Illinois sash and everything. Mrs. Illinois sash. Yeah.
She has a crown. She's a scepter. She's almost like Baron Corbin.
Yeah. Or one of my all-time favorites, Queen Sherry.
Oh, I thought you could say Queen Charnel.
No, not Sherry. Queen Charnel.
Okay.
Charnel. That's right. Yeah.
King Charnel. With King Booker.
And King Booker. I think we've discussed it on the show before, but yes, exactly. For our audio listeners, Jeremy was putting his pinky up. But I'll forever be a mark for King Booker because of when he called SummerSlam the SummerSlam games. He said,
Is that when he got buried by Hunter for having a king gimmick?
I can't remember about that.
Hunter was like coming back from an injury. He didn't even bother. Like, they just ran like one video package. It didn't even like try and tell the story. It's just like, I'm the king of kings. And it's like, well, I guess they're facing each other and Hunter's going to murder him.
Yeah. Hunter and derailing Booker T when he has major momentum. Name a more iconic duo.
Next up, here's Mean Gene again, Adam. Interviews Arn, Mongo, and Deborah on the entrance ramp. Gene asks about Woman. Arn says that Benoit is in Germany. Where's Woman? He says that his whole thing is his fault. He feels bad. Deborah calls Woman a tramp. Talks about being a beauty pageant, blah, blah, blah. Mongo says to not get caught up in this soap opera stuff. They got 4 horsemen business to attend to.
That's right. Apparently it's not wrestling because I can't think of one time that Mongo has wrestled a singles match since he became a horseman. But you know what? I don't miss him on the commentary desk. Hopefully Pepe's doing all right.
Oh, yeah, Pepe. Next up, the WCW US title tournament continues. They've never shown a bracket, but we generally have an idea of what's happening now. DDP versus Jeff Jarrett. This match goes 9 minutes 45 seconds. I thought Flair said that Jeff Jarrett was in the 4 Horsemen like 3 weeks ago.
No, he was 4 Horsemen adjacent. He's like endorsed by the 4 Horsemen.
Oh, all right. Anyway, Jeff hits my favorite move, the slingshot suplex. So shout out to Jeff for that. Outsiders come out to ringside with the ref distracted. Hall comes in, hits the Razor's Edge off of Jeff Jarrett. Jeff's an idiot. He climbs up in a turnbuckle to like look at Nash and right into position for the Razor's Edge. DDP rolls in, pins him for the win.
But did DDP see all of that happen?
Right. Mean Gene again interviews DDP in the ring this time to question him about the NWO. Obviously, the NWO just came out and helped him win. He says that he doesn't need them. He talks about not wanting the random girls he bangs to call him, just like he doesn't want the NWO to call him either. Nobody wants the U.S. title more than him.
I love DDP, man. I love DDP so fucking much. He's so good. He's so entertaining. He's so him. You know what I mean? Like, he's just that person. As they say for success in wrestling, you turn yourself up to 11. Like, yeah, that's DDP here. I love he says, I got the best finish in the business when he's in right now. Oh, it's good. Man, the crowd was hot for both of these guys, especially DDP. Mm-hmm. Like,
absolutely.
This is good stuff.
Next up, Steiner's music hits, but instead of him coming out for, I guess he was going to be in the main event, Piper comes out instead. He storms out to the ring as a steel chair. He says that he's tired of talking and wants a fight, and he calls out Hogan. Instead, here comes Bischoff. Bischoff is just being pelted with drinks and toilet paper and everything imaginable, just flying out of the stands, nailing him in the head. They go, Piper starts to beat up Bischoff and NWA run out. They surround the ring. He's able to hold them off. Eric said NWA were gone. Sorry, but then they run out anyway. Kevin Green comes out to help Piper, and the show goes to black with them holding them off. WWE Network has some footage of after the show. Basically, the Four Horsemen run out and able to fight off the NWO to save Piper.
Yeah, it's weird seeing Mongo do a clearly face thing in this event, but yeah, it's also cool to see this kind of stuff. We would often, when we were working in the WWE tape library and we were going through all this stuff, digitizing it, we would sometimes see like dark matches or promos that happened after the show or whatever, like that. This stuff that they're featuring on the network afterwards, it'd be cool. Something that they should do is just how they have everything broken out into this match here, this promo here, this match there. Like they should just have a feature that or a beat on it that takes you to the unaired stuff, which would be.
They put out a DVD. I don't believe it's on the network though. It was of all the stuff that happened after Raw went off the air. A lot of it's problematic, so they probably don't want to put it on the network.
Do you have a thing that you saw when we were working at the WWE tape library and saw stuff that was not on the air?
Absolutely. I don't know what. I don't know.
One.
I don't know what they were celebrating. It was some anniversary or fucking something. I don't know.
Birthday.
So I don't know. All the superstars were in the ring, and Austin's out there, and they're all drinking beer. Austin decides this would be funny. Let's just have a wet t-shirt contest with Maria. So he just pouring beer all over Maria. And JR, you see in the corners looking at oh. It's fantastic.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't remember if it was Maria or Christy Hemme that was happening too in that moment.
It was Maria. Yeah, that was good moments. If we have any listeners that are still working in the WW tape library, I marked all of my favorite moments in wrestling history. There's a very easy way to search for it. Here's a little hidden. I had my own Jeremy Jacobowitz hidden gems built into the WW tape library. Here's what you guys do if you work there. I know we're talking to 10 people, but whatever. If you type in my name, Jeremy Jacobowitz, I added myself to every scene that I thought were the best scenes of all time and were hidden gems. So there you go. I was hoping that no one did any more tests and just put all that shit into network and I did type my name to see if something come up. They did obviously go through it before network stuff. But if you work at WWE, there's no way they took that out of the system. So I'm still in the system and you could find hidden gems just like Maria getting drowned in beer.
Yeah, I remember there were a lot of Stone Cold after the shows, cheersing beers with people.
Yeah.
And then giving them a stunner. I definitely recall seeing one where he and RVD completely botched it. I'm not sure what the major breakdown on it was, but RVD just kind of stood, I think, while Stone Cold, or he went down before. I can't remember, but either way, he was totally off, and Stone Cold just threw the beer down, opened another one, and picked it back up and did it again. Hilarious. But anyway, all that aside, that was Nitro.
That was Nitro.
What are you feeling about Nitro?
That was pretty good. Had a bunch of matches I liked. I liked the storyline of Piper throughout, being a crazy person. And yeah, for a show that had a lot of stars not on it, I don't think you missed any. I think it's nice when you get a break from everyone every single week. It
yeah, good. Yeah, I agree. Absence makes the heart grow fonder a little bit. Yeah, I agree. It was a fine show. Definitely some more stuff to enjoy out of it than that was on Raw. So, I mean, particularly DDP versus Jeff Jarrett was good. Graffiti versus Malenko was good. Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff going on with Taskmaster and the Benoits. Obviously, Piper on a live mic. Yeah, even though you think Mankind versus Undertaker, no disqualification,
no holds barred.
Yeah, that's right. So, all right. Are we both giving it to Nitro then?
Absolutely. And America agrees with us. We're obviously in the middle of 83 weeks still. Nitro got a 3.3 and Raw got a 2.3.
Well, I mean, as we just discussed, it's pretty deserved at this point. It's interesting that, that many people are sticking with Raw. It's also interesting, I wonder about the breakdown in these numbers, because now that people are obsessed with ratings, like you'll see them talk about it on Twitter and on Squared Circle and Reddit all the time and stuff like that. It's interesting how the hour breakdowns have stayed as part of Raw. I'm not sure if they do that on SmackDown too, but on Raw, the hour breakdowns.
Well, I think they do that because it's so significant that you sort of have to talk about it. But it's a 3-hour show, so it's expected that, I mean, only idiots like me watch 3 hours.
Yeah, but they don't do that for a 3-hour football game. They don't do that for
that is true. But also for football games, what you have to remember too is like when they talk about football games, they don't even talk about ratings. They just talk about how many people watch it or how many eyeballs, which is like basically it's all fuckery. Like basically when people want to talk about like big ratings, they obviously want to pick up the biggest number ever. So what they do is they say eyeballs. The way they measure eyeballs is literally if you're flicking through, people I guess don't flick through channels that much anymore, but back in the day you go through the channels. If you happen to come across that channel while that show is on, that counted as an eyeball. A viewer takes a little bit more watching.
Right.
So it's like 40 million eyeballs saw the premiere of the show, but really was watched by like 10 million people. Like it's all stupid bullshit.
Yeah, it's a similar issue to like Facebook video views where they say like, yeah, the Mixed Match Challenge was watched by 1.2 million people. Well, the view counts if like you're on the video for 20 seconds. So like, what do we really know,
Right.
And like other places, honestly, smartly, because if you can fudge your numbers, like you might as well. Like we really don't know what counts as a Netflix view right now.
Well, they do. They just don't release numbers.
That's my whole point. They do when they can say 78 million people watched the first season of The Witcher, which
true. They're very selective with what they put out there.
Yeah, which
is odd because you imagine all the numbers are pretty good.
Yeah, well, sure. Well, I mean, they can be good. I love The Witcher. I believe that 72 million people checked it out. I wonder how many people watched the whole thing all the way through, similar to like when, I don't know, they released some random movie with Charlize Theron or something recently. And I was like, like, I wonder if that's really like worth the money that they did and that they put it in. And then Netflix is like, yeah, they said like 100 million people watched this movie or something like that. I'm like,
but remember, but the reason why they don't put out the numbers of the shows is that for business it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're like for Raw, it matters because like you need people watching commercials. Since it's all subscriber based, it's just like here's how many more subscribers we have because of this. So even if far fewer numbers, like the fact that it was nominated for an Emmy or something, well, that will add to subscribers. Oh, the fact that it had Charlize Theron, like even if people didn't watch it, they were able to add subscribers. So that's why we don't get those two numbers in there because they don't have to because it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, I find it interesting because like you think in concept it matters because obviously if there's a lot of people going to one thing that's put out, that means that that's what's driving people to be on your platform or whatever. But like, sometimes
but you need new subscribers, and that doesn't always equate. It doesn't matter if everyone on Netflix watched one show. That's wonderful, but it doesn't make them any more money. You need the shows that get new people to sign up.
That's true too. I think that's an issue that they're coming into with like Game Pass or whatever, where like Battletoads was played by 13 million people or whatever the fuck when it came out, but like Battletoads has a 3% finish rate or something like that, according to Xbox achievements.
Who gives a shit if they finished it?
It's a 3-hour game.
Okay, well, people thought it sucked. What's the difference?
I don't know. I'm sitting here.
But it's a free game, so no one feels bad about it.
I'm sitting here wearing a PlayStation shirt. I have to dig in on Xbox a little bit. Like, come on.
All I want to do is give me free games. I enjoy it.
I got Fall Guys free last month. Having a good time there too. Regardless,
I got a computer. I could do that.
Regardless, that's not wrestling.
Could be. Yeah, I guess any other thoughts? We went very far away from the show. Any other thoughts on Raw or Nitro?
No, man. I'm stoked for Starrcade. Not stoked for It's Time. That's what I know.
I might check out. I mean, I don't think I've seen It's Time. I might check that out on Starrcade soon. We'll see if I get around to that this week. But if you made it this far, you are an amazing, incredible person. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, make sure you are subscribed, whether that's Spotify or Google or Apple, or we're on a bunch of other ones. I don't really know how it works. Hit that follow and subscribe button. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review. That would be wonderful. You could, I don't know, tell us anything. I mean, leave a real review. That's interesting too, but you can say whatever you want. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, comment below. Let us know who you thought won this week's Monday Night Wars. That's cool. If you want to tell us anything else, Twitter, Monday Night Pod, Facebook, Monday Night Pod, email us at info@Monday Night Pod. There's an Instagram. You can DM us there too. Is that all the plugs?
That's pretty much all the plugs. It's a good amount of plugs. It's a beautiful amount of plugs. It's a lot of plugs, but it's not too many plugs. Just pop the hometown crowd next time you're doing it. Then they'll be less mad. I think the hometown crowd is the internet. Shout out to the internet.
Right here in the World Wide Web.
Perfect. You're gonna have the belt by the end of the year for sure. They might even put you over at the Rumble.
I already have the belt.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Ah, shit. I have to go with the belt then.
All right. Bye, guys.